Hey guys, this is Katie with another CreepyPasta story for you all. The title of this one is The Dancing Man. It's one of my very favorite ones, so I hope you guys like it, and we will get started. About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the US. I've always been a night person ever since I can remember, so I would often find myself bored after my roommate, who was decidedly not a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to find myself going for long walks and spending a lot of time just walking and thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once before had I had a reason to feel afraid. I always used to joke with my roommate that even the drug dealers in the city were polite to me. All of this did change all of a sudden within just a few minutes' time one evening, and I'd like to share it with you. It had been a Wednesday night. It was somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning. I was walking near a police patrol parked car, parked quite a ways away from my apartment. It was a quiet night, and even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and no one was on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty, and I was pretty much alone. I turned down a short street in order to loop back around to my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street, on my side, was the silhouette of a man, and he was just dancing to himself. It was a really strange dance, similar to a waltz, but he finished each box step with an odd forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance walking, and he was coming straight for me. Deciding that he was probably drunk, I stepped as close away to the street to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass by. The closer he got, though, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky and wearing an old suit. He danced closer still until I could make out his face. His eyes were open wide and wild. His head was tilted back slightly, looking off at the sky. His mouth was formed into a painfully wide cartoon smile, and it never left his face. Between his eyes and his smile, I was thoroughly creeped out, and I decided to cross the street before the dancing man got closer to me. I had taken my eyes off of the street for just 1 minute as I reached the other side, and I glanced back, and then I stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel, right in front of me. He was facing me but still looking skyward. The smile was still on his face. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, keeping my eyes on the man. I just picked up my stride. He didn't move for about a minute. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and the sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still pretty unnerved, I looked back to see where he had been standing to find that he was gone all of a sudden. For the briefest of moments, I felt relieved until I noticed him again. He had crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down behind me. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain that he was facing me, just crouched down. I had looked away from him for at least no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that when I had looked away, he moved quick. I was so shocked that I stood there for some time, staring back at him, and then he started moving towards me again. He took giant, exaggerated tiptoed steps, as if he were some sort of cartoon character sneaking up on someone. He was moving, at this point, very quickly, with very large strides towards me. I'd like to say at this point that I ran or I pulled out some pepper spray or something smart, but I didn't. All I could do was just stand there, and I was just completely frozen in fear, staring at the smiling man as he creeped towards me. Finally, he stopped again. He was about a car length away from me this time. He was still smiling, and he was still looking up towards the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the very first thing that came to mind. What I had meant to say was, "Man, what the fuck do you want?" What I ended up saying, of course, though, was, "What are you doing?" Regardless of whether humans can smell fear, they can certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid. But he didn't even react to me at all. He just stood there, smiling, staring. After what felt like forever, he finally turned around extremely slowly and started walking off into the opposite direction. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I watched him go for a couple of minutes until he was far enough away that I decided that he was out of sight and I could move forward. I then realized something after taking a few strides away. He wasn't moving away anymore. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him grew larger and larger. He was coming back my way, and this time he was running straight towards me, laughing hysterically. At this point, I ran too. I ran until I was out off the side of the road and into a bigger part of traffic. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be found. The rest of the way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, and I was always expecting to see his stupid smile and his dancing figure coming towards me again, but he was never there. I had lived in that city for 6 more months after that particular night, and I never went out for another walk again. There was something about his face that always haunted me and that I will never forget. He did not look drunk, and he didn't look high. He just looked completely and utterly mad, completely insane. And that is a very, very scary thing to see. So that was it. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys for the next one. Bye.